In this module, we'll focus on how we can have natural, long running conversations with our chatbot. This is what makes a chatbot mimic a human and pass the Turing test. Now, we've already had some conversations with our chatbot when it's eliciting information to fill up the parameter slots for fulfillment. We look beyond that now. We look at linear dialogues, which can span a single intent or multiple intents and are typically used to get all the information that we need to fulfill a user's request. We'll also look at non-linear dialogues, where the intent that is actually invoked depends on the user's response to the previous query. The intent can change based on what the user says. The very first step to enabling dialogues with our chatbot is to understand what context means and what follow up intents are. The context is the environment in which the user has his or her conversation with the chatbot. Information that the user has provided early on forms part of the context. The use of context make interacting with chatbots more natural, more conversational, and less irritating or annoying because you don't have to keep repeating information that you've already provided before. Once we've clearly understood context, that flows naturally into linear dialogues. The whole objective of a linear dialogue is to collect the information that is necessary to complete the required action. And we've already seen some of this in the previous module. We'll see much more of it in much greater detail with some new concepts here. And finally, we'll move on to non-linear dialogues. When we have non-linear dialogues, you have a number of intents which correspond to different actions, but only a subset of those intents are invoked, and which subset is invoked depends on the user's responses. Non-linear dialogues may branch through different intents depending on the user's answers. Let's take a look at what we'll be able to accomplish at the end of this module. I need a single room in LA for Tuesday. All the required parameter slots are filled, so the room booking is complete. It has been successful. And then I can go ahead and say, add a hatchback too. This dialog is an invocation of the book car's intent, but is also a continuation of the book room's intent that we hit earlier. We preserve the context or the environment of the previous request, and a car is booked for the exact same date on which we got the room. This meaningful long running linear dialogue is made possible via the use of context. We'll also study non-linear dialogues. We'll set up a customer satisfaction survey where we want to survey the results of the hotel that a customer stayed at, whether he or she liked the location of the hotel, whether he or she liked the facilities of the hotel. This is the feedback that we want for our hotel location as well as facilities. This dialogue will span multiple intents and branch to different intents based on what the user said about the location as well as the facilities. Appropriate responses will be configured for each of these intents, either apologetic responses or happy responses. The rating that the user gives the location or the facilities will determine what intent we are going to invoke next.